So where are we off to today, Lucky? Well, I'm going to go and see my brother in Leeds because we're going to a comedy show tonight. He bought me a ticket as a Christmas present, so I'll be accompanying my bro to watch a show. But I'm not going to Leeds via the boring A1. Well, yes, I am a little bit, but I don't want to go all the way via the A1. So I'll be peeling off somewhere further down the A1, and then I'm off to Staindrop, then Rokeby, then Richmond, but not the Richmond that, you know, the big Richmond town, then Wittington, then the B6265, and then finally arriving at his place. I hope I don't run out of time before we have to go and see the show. Cut the ride short. The weather doesn't look fantastic, but it's not forecast for rain. But what it's forecast for and what actually happens here in the UK are two different things, absolutely entirely. And now I haven't fastened my jacket up properly, and I've got the catch rattling on my neck and really cracking against my crash helmet, and it's doing me head in. Yeah, I'm not too keen on that weather up ahead. It doesn't look good at all. It's not the usual crystalline blue skies and piercing sunshine that the northeast of England is famous for. Shut up, it is! Well, it's a little bit chillier than I was hoping for, but it's nothing I can't cope with. Right up until the point I can't cope with it. I just hope it doesn't rain and spoil things. And I have to say, looking at the cloud base, it does look like it's going to rain. We'll just have to see how we get on. Rather bizarrely, with the screen up, quite pleasant environment to be in, to be honest with you, especially on a cool day today. It's not bad at all. However, the one issue I'm having with the screen up like that is because it actually causes a kind of pocket of air here, negative air, and pulls you in towards it, which I'm used to now. It's pulling air from around the back, and it's coming under my arms here, under my, like the back of my biceps, whatever they're called. I'm not a muscle person. Triceps? I don't know. And it's making my arms cold. I'm only cold in that one particular spot. The rest of me is quite warm. I've got a long sleeve shirt under my Knox jacket, and I'm absolutely fine apart from this horrible cold spot. I'm considering putting my jacket back on. Let's see if we can shift this grey cloud, see what happens. I'll put the jacket back on if it starts to rain. If it stays like this, I'll leave it off and put up with it. Do we wave at trikes? Yes, we do. They don't wave back though. I guess I'm not a trike. I bet he has very few people to wave at if that's his rulings on waving at other vehicles. As far as I'm concerned, he's got a crash helmet on, so he's one of us. And now we reach Staindrop, where I'm going to have to stop the bike and put in the next destination. And this is the home of the infamous poisoner Mary Ann Cotton, who I don't know in what century, 18th century probably, I think, did away with a few of her husbands, and I think possibly some children, thanks to using arsenic that she was buying from a local chemist or apothecary and saying she needed it for rat poison. And she had a few partners who would pop their clogs under mysterious circumstances, and it was her poisoning them with arsenic. Oh my goodness, that's a nice triumph. Zoom across here before he gets there. There we go. Another reason or another character I know of from Staindrop is an old school teacher who taught at my old school. That tends to be where old teachers teach, at old schools. Or is it old teachers, new schools? I've got a friend and he's a new teacher and he teaches at an old school. Anyway, I'm getting off the point, shut up. Right, so Staindrop, also the home of an old teacher from my school called Mr. Butinsky, who was a science teacher, a physics and chemistry teacher. Now, he never taught me specifically, he never took me for a class, but he did take my brother for a class. And in that class there was a kid who brought in something he claimed to have found on a beach, and he brought it in a jar filled with either water or oil. Whatever it was something keeping, cancel the indicator there, something keeping the oxygen away from whatever was in it. Turned out to be phosphorus of some kind. And what actually happened was Mr. Butinsky opened the jar, took the phosphorus out from its suspended state in this liquid, whatever it was, and the phosphorus immediately burst into flame. And I believe that Mr. Butinsky was actually quite poorly because of that, and he burned all his face. He used to have a beard. It singed all his face and burnt all his jaw. And I think he actually might have gotten a touch of what they call phossy jaw or something like that, but he never came back. It happened, I think, either just before I started school there or not long after I started school. And he never came back to school while I was there. But I do have vague memories of him, so I think it might have been just after I started school. But you know, me and my memories, they're not what they used to be. Got a Mini coming up fast behind us. I hope it can stop. Unsuitable for HGVs, that's what we like. We love that. That means the road's going to be crap, but interesting crap. Not crap like the motorway crap. Interesting. Crap surface, dodgy corners. And look at that, lovely views. A knackered old tree, low tree. This is better. I'm liking this a bit now. This is the way I'll come to Leeds from now on. Probably not. There has to be some way on my sat nav that I can actually put in my destination via these points. I can do it on Google Maps on the PC. Why can't I do it on this? I'll have to look into that and see if there's a way I can put in multi-stops. I know you can put a destination in and then put somewhere in. Maybe that's the way to do it. It does allow you to put points of interest in. What's this? Westwick? Westwick. Give way 80 yards through somebody's farmyard. It's weird how a farm, just, you know, you're running through their farmyard, a private farm, and you've got a public road running through it. Okay, that's interesting. We are going this way. Lovely houses, lovely place. Smithy as well, wow. Okay, well, we're hooking off this road to the left in a few hundred yards. And the one thing about not travelling as quickly now as well, of course, is I'm not getting that cold feeling on my arms. So hooray for that. be bothered. Can't be bothered with you, mate. Right, we're left at the bottom. Yes, we are. We're green, so we'll just wait. Ooh, E53. That's a posh Mercedes, isn't it? They're quite quick, those things. I bet it sounds nice too. I wish you'd rev it. Not so impressed with the car in front of him though. It's smoking like a burning chip pan. There's smoke coming out of that car. If that doesn't go off with a bang soon, God no, I'm not sitting behind that and breathing in the carcinogens. Come on, Merc, pop past him. You can do it. Well, I guess we've got to sit here. It's not too far to the next place anyway, so nah. And that's Rokeby. And then we're off to Richmond, but not the Richmond, part of Richmond, DL11 6RL. You see, you don't get this in Northumberland. When I go tootling around Northumberland and the Scottish borders, you don't get queues of cars like this. There's nobody there. I'm spoiled really, aren't I? That's what this is. This is me moaning about being spoiled. I've got to find something to moan about on a ride. You know, out on a motorcycle enjoying your day. Let's think about something to moan about. My natural moany disposition. Where's that? That is Rokeby Hall. I bet that's lovely in there too. Anywhere with an 8-foot wall around it's going to be lovely inside, isn't it? Keep the plebs out. Keep the commoners away. Okay, right, we are here now. So we're going to pull in here and do the next bit of the journey. Because this is the 66. We could have got here a lot quicker than this, but I suspect we could have had just as much fun as well, because that's been crap so far. Okay. We have to cross the A19 too. Oh, actually, you know what I'll do? Let's get that twisted around there. It's good that he's not going our way, because if he was going our way, you can guarantee it would have been a crash on the A66. This is a notorious road. Very bad for crashes. Lots of heavy goods vehicles crossing from one side of the country to the next, to the other. Yeah, so you've got east-west, west-east feed. Into Cumbria and the lakes, and a lot of them come this way. It's a very high point on the A66 further on that we're not going to cross, which is often closed to traffic in the winter and when it's windy at any time. More than one occasion I've seen trucks on this side. I've actually been driving across this road up on the tops where it gets windy and watched a truck in front of us go up on its side like that. The front didn't come up off the deck, but the back, it was one of these, you know, taut liner curtain side of things, but the wind caught the back like a kite and it twisted the whole chassis. I didn't realise truck chassis could bend that much and flex that much, but it lifted the back wheels on the windward side completely up off the deck about 3 foot. I was absolutely stunned, and the guy actually did quite well to keep it from blowing over, but it came back down. I'd never seen that before. Never seen a truck chassis twist like that before. It came back down and continued on his way as far as I could see without any real damage. But yeah, it gets windy up there. We're not going that route. There is a road off that route that I see when I ride there or drive over there in the car or the truck, and there's a little tiny kind of country road that seems to be somewhere off further on, and it does this kind of like cartoonish kind of lopping over the hills, if you like, you know, like how you draw a road crossing cartoon hills, like that, and then like that, and then like that. Yet another road I've never travelled. Sheepses! There's sheepses in there, lots of lambs as well. Now, that's something my brother might be able to tell me about. Caravan Site there. What's that called? It doesn't have a name. Joe! My brother's a keen caravaner, and might well have been on that site. Look quite canny. Oh, bridge! Oh, golly! Right, okay. It'll no doubt have a very tight turning at the end. Yes, it does. So I can't go... If I was coming the other way, I could whack the throttle open across the top of that. You know, get that little kind of off the back tyre as it skips over. But this way, no, not with a hard left-hand turn. Ah, the opportunity's missed. Nice big house for sale in there. That would be nice to live in if you had that kind of money. A few of my friends have. I haven't. And they do live in lovely houses, I have to say. Where we're going here, we are going around to the right to Wreath. What are you? What are you? What are you? What are you? Are you a hare? Are you a hare in there? Yes, you look like a hare. Yeah, cool. We saw a hare. Certainly wasn't a rabbit. Ah, this is the kind of scenery I wanted to be in today. This is nice. This is better than dragging your ass along the A1. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. traffic management guy either just setting up or just putting away. Looks like he's just putting away. Give me the wave. Cheers, buddy! Right, well, I dealt with him in the past. That my job involves me working with traffic management now and again. His face didn't look familiar, I have to say. It's a weird job. Sometimes you can be stuck out in places like that just sitting for ages, and sometimes you can be really heavily involved with, you know, big setups of traffic management on motorways and things like that. It does seem to be an awful lot of sitting around in the cab though once I've set up. I mean, I've done jobs with traffic management where they've set the traffic management up for my truck, and then all they do all day is just sit in the cab waiting for the traffic management to close down at a set time when we all disappear again. You know, we're working all the way through the day and they just have to sit in their cabs and look at their phones or read a book. Now, to some people that might sound like a dream come true, but none of the guys I've seen doing the job seem to be really enthralled with the fact they've got loads of this dead time on their hands where they've just got to sit and do nothing. I do like this road. This is good, this road. I like that bit. Yeah, so very bumpy road. Yeah, so the traffic management guys seems to be a bit of a weird job. Set up all the cones, sit around for hours and hours and hours and hours, and then have to take it all down again and drive miles home sometimes. And some of the guys I work with have come from like 100, 150 miles away. I like this road. Wow. Let's pull over here for a little quick. Time to move on. Oh dear. Gravelly gravel. It's not the kind of bike you want to be dropping on gravel. What's that say? Yorkshire Dales National Park. Right, sheepses, come on. Good girls. Must get a louder horn. Let's get one of those sheep scarer 3000s fitted. Wow. Hello there, you. Cool. And off they go. So we've seen sheepses, of course, we always would, and we've seen a hare, and we've now seen a deer. This is better than the A1. Okay, now I think we're quite close to where we need to be, so let's stop here, and that's West Wittington is now the next one. Looks like that's the way there. Is it? Come on, yes, it is that way. Okay. So we're off to Wreath. Yes, indeed we are. And look at that old house there. Wonderful. Oh, wow. Bit of a pile over there, isn't there? That's nice. Diversion. Low row 3. I don't think that's the same low row that we know from the A69, 68, 60, 69, A69. Can't be the same low row. It's physically impossible. We're nowhere near that area. There's 2 low rows, I would imagine. There's more than 2 low rows. Now, what has that building been in the past? That's a rather unusual building, isn't it? Some kind of hall of some kind, or a Wesleyan chapel. Right, all of you can move right now. It's a stupid place to stand. They get squished. I think I would like to put my jacket on. I think I would like to do that. Let's just put it here. That's what I'm going to do. We're going to have a jacket putting on session, which probably means me taking off the crash helmet because I can't reach the top box whilst connected up to the power for the GoPro. Panniers holding up. I must sort the handle out for that one. It doesn't pop down and lock properly. It's a bit of a concern, really. Okay, off we go. Yeah, we're good. Okay, slightly warmer. Focus a bit more on the ride now instead of how I'm feeling. This great sill along here. I don't know what that is. It'll have a name. I don't know if it's actually the result of some kind of mining or quarrying of some kind, or is it just like that? goodness. Don't know what that was about, Mercedes, but there was a little bit of a miscalculation on your part there. Slightly wall of deathing it around that corner. We're now in the village of Wreath, according to that sign. Yes, unsuitable for heavy goods vehicles. Once again, our kind of road. What a lovely place though. I think out of the three of us I have the best option. Redmire. No, do we do here? Let's have a look. Route. You're taking the mickey. Yeah. That's it. Okay. This is it. This is our route. There's that bottomed out rear shock. I know I'm not the lightest rider, like, but it shouldn't be bottoming out like that. Wow. Why would anybody want to go down the A1 to Leeds when you can come this way? Possibly slightly shorter route, yes, but views don't compare, do they? I don't know what that area is I'm looking at. What's that above us? With a long pointy beak. There's an oyster catcher by the look of it. Or a curlew. Looks like an oyster catcher. I don't know, I'm not a birdologist. A long pointy beak. Guess it's a curlew then, isn't it? Come on, sheep mammy and sheeplets, or whatever you call baby sheep. Sheeplets, I'm sure they're called sheeplets. Like baby foxes are called foxlets. Obligatory slight blip of throttle under bridge. Has to be done. It's the law. See how nice these roads are when you haven't got a red Vauxhall Astra blocking the bloody view. They're lovely. Oh goody, lots of fun there. Low bridge, steep hill, unsuitable for LGVs, HGVs, whatever. Bridges, tunnels. What's not to love about that? Cyclists. You didn't have to slow down to let me past. Could have utilised a bit more speed on that hill for them, couldn't they? Very kind of them though. Unlike red Astra drivers. That's a hell of an adverse camber on there. What's over there? Pretty, but we ain't got time to stop. Some other time, find out where this place is. Leyburn, West Witton. Okay, we're nearly there. Light vehicles only 14 miles. Oh, there's another place. I have Kettlewell or somewhere like that, wasn't it called? A Kettlegarth or something? I'll have to look at that. That could have been a nice journey. Something else to search out on the map. Kettlewell, that's it, Kettlewell, right in Grassington. Oh, so that looks like a good route through to the lakes and that way on. Okay mate, well this is a little less action than I was looking for, so I'm afraid I'm going to have to dispatch you in due course. I might sit behind you because we're only on this route for another 5 minutes and then I have to stop and put the rest in. wave. Cows in the front garden. Why do you keep 4 pet cows in your front garden? Why would you do that? Oh, llama. Panya's still on. Handle popping up though, that's really caused me slight concern, because if that pops up, the pannier can come off. It won't open, it's locked shut, but it can bounce off. But we'll see how we get on. I've travelled quite a way with it before, but I don't think it's ever been as bouncy and as jiggly as this. Just have to keep it on in the left hand mirror. I can see the handle if I do that. Okay, we are turning. Is this guy going to put his mirrors out again? Typical taxi driver, drives for a living, supposed to be professional. Driving along with his mirrors stuck in. Clown. Just shows you how often he uses them. If he hasn't noticed and we've done a mile, does he even know I'm behind him? He's put them out now. Got traffic at the bottom of this hill somewhere, and so the tail light's about half a mile further on. My backside is getting a workout now on these bumps. That rear shocker really does need changing. It's going to be an expensive upgrade though. Getting towards the bottom end of the fuel range. I hope I've got enough. We're not exactly hoofing it though, so I should imagine we have. Oh, golly. Kind of them. Starbottom. That's a great name for a place, isn't it? Kettlewell with Starbottom. Oh, a pub with an open fire too. That's one for the notebook. Now that there looks almost like a kind of high cup nickish kind of thing. You know, that kind of, that grand wind sill that runs around High Cup Nick. That looks kind of the same thing. I wonder if this is the bottom end of that rock formation in the south, where it curls kind of round to the south and the east. At the bottom of that formation. High Cup Nick and all those places are west. I get the feeling this is kind of like the south of that, facing west of course. So I wonder if this is where it kind of curls in and ends. Does it end in such an abrupt fashion? It's another Google Maps question. Look at this. Wow. Ooh, not the best time to sneeze. Excuse me. There'll be another one along in a minute. I never, ever, ever sneeze once. Told you. Told you. Oh. Better be quick. There we go. Could have done that a gear lower and made a quicker pass without buzzing the VW that I overtook, but misjudgment on my part.